Hey Chris, welcome to this week. I don't know.
That's very specific.
It's been
This week.
yeah, right. It's this week, and I don't even know what week it is anymore. And so many there's so many things happening, and holiday season's coming in. I was in the store the other day, and we got Christmas music and ornaments even in stores like Home Depot. So it's crazy, you know.
Remember-
Anyway,
remember- yeah, I like to want to start after Thanksgiving, not after Halloween.
yeah, well, when I was at Toys R Us, it was like, okay,
Oh, okay.
Black Friday, Black Friday was a working day for me because
Yeah.
that was a big day. Anyway, with the holiday season coming, it got me thinking that
Yeah.
you know, let's talk. We figure we'll probably talk a little bit about the cell phones today. And I know you recently did a video on SIM swapping and things,
Yep.
and people like might not really understand how critical that phone is. But even let's take it down even simpler step is people are walking around with gigabytes of data now in their pocket and their phones, and how bad would somebody have be when how bad would your wife feel if she came home tonight and said she dropped her phone and all those pictures are gone?
It kind of reminds me when people used to use cameras. I know that's a foreign concept for a lot of people, but like, yeah, your SD card to die or something like that, you wouldn't have the pictures backed up.
Yeah,
Um,
the SD cards were yes, the SD cards would die, but at least you could take them out and use them in other places.
yeah,
When an iPhone dies,
yeah,
uh,
that's no problem.
that's a
Yeah,
huge problem.
I think regardless of whether it's Android or whether it's Apple, obviously buy some storage. And if you don't want to buy it from, let's say iCloud, and you don't want to buy it from Android, if you buy it from Microsoft, you get OneDrive. You can choose to back up your pictures to OneDrive,
Yep.
and it's pretty cool because it makes albums stuff like that. Obviously, it's not as seamless as the album. Like if you're an Apple person, obviously iCloud is the better play because just the photos and stuff like that in the albums, but it still does work with OneDrive. So if you don't want to pay Apple, that's fine. Pay Microsoft. I think Dropbox might be able to do it too. The idea is just make sure you back it up because like not just that. Let's say you take a bunch of pictures and of your kids and you break your phone and then you have to explain to your wife that you lost all the pictures and videos of the kids. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be you. So uh,
I don't want to be around for that conversation.
yeah,
So
there's some other things to back up. Obviously, your contacts would be backed up in that case too. That's where like iCloud comes in. I don't. I use different ways of storing my contacts, but for most people, personally, just pay for the backup. Google, I think, ties straight into your Google account, so I don't think you have to worry about your contacts there. But
yeah,
uh,
Google accounts has got it, but yeah, like I said, we were talking earlier, and a 2 terabyte plan from iCloud is super cheap. It's $10 a month that you can share with your family.
but oh yeah, I'm all
So
about the family plans with that, especially if you have more than two people on a plan.
and with the holiday season coming in, you never know who's going to be getting a new phone or whatever. So if it's backed up in iCloud, you log back in. There's none of this phone cloning or anything that we need to do, but um,
Well, and the fun part is if you tie all your phones together, you might actually see pictures that the other people in your family take, and you may not want to see those pictures. So you have that option too.
yeah,
So be careful with that.
that's actually a good story for a forensic investigation that we did, where somebody was tracking his wife was messing around, and we found the phones.
Oh, whoops.
We found the data on the phones. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
and the best part, it was like real time tracking, so you could tell her she was at the hotel down the street.
find my friend, find
Find my
my find
find
my
my spouse.
adultering significant other. That's a good way to do it. One
So
thing,
anyway, while we're on the
one,
topic of phones,
I was gonna say one thing to understand with family plans too is each person can still have their own iTunes account. You can specifically for Apple, they can have their own i iCloud login, and then you can add them to the family plan so that their stuff gets backed up, but you don't necessarily have to see it. If you use your login on the device, then you're going to see the stuff. So just keep that in mind.
I was looking at something else, which is kind of morbid, but as I was going through the iTunes stuff the other day, I noticed you can actually set up a legacy contact. So if you would have passed away, and they
Oh
found
yeah,
out, they would pass you had a way to pass your data. But when I was reading through that, any account that you're any device that's connected to your account when that's activated goes into an unregistered state, so they can't be used by anybody else. It actually locks the devices.
Which brings us to another point. If you use Apple devices in your business, make sure that you use an email to register that you control. Don't let the person do it, because the person, if the Find My phone gets activated on an iTunes account, that account technically owns that iPad. So if somebody leaves your company, you have a brick until you can prove to Apple that you purchased it and things like that, and you don't want to go through that. So
no, that's a mess. And
yeah,
wow, that I hadn't even thought about that one.
yeah, we've had that problem a couple places where people just said, "Hey, register. Here's an iPad for work," and they just give it brand new iPad out the box and didn't register it, didn't do the proper business setup of it, and then the person left and they were like, "Give me the password," and they're like, "Nope." And they bricked like a iPad Pro, so it was like, I don't know, $1,000 iPad Pro or something like that. It was just a brick. Yeah, so don't do that. If you want to talk about swim swapping for a second,
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's shift
we
gears.
use our phones for everything, and I think the point here is we use our phones for everything, right? How long have you had your cell phone number? I've had mine for a long time. I can't remember.
I probably had my phone for 20 years.
Okay. So one day, what happens if you're using your phone and all of a sudden you can't make phone calls or receive text messages? What does that change in your life? You're freaking out, right?
I'm freaking out. I can't work.
Yeah. Well, that's a reality, guys. Like if somebody SIM swaps you, and what that means is they call in and they impersonate you, because a lot of people's personal information has been leaked. You know, you can go back to the Experian leaks, you can go back to the any kind of credit leak, or anytime your data has been leaked. If they can kind of provide information to think that's you, they can talk to AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whatever, and they can port your number out to a different SIM. Well, if they do that, one, you lose control of your number, but two, they gain access to everything that you have access to on your phone number. So let's say they had a password to your bank account and they go SIM swap you, or your crypto wallet or something like that. Well, and you had all your codes sent to that phone number. Whoops. Now they're getting all those codes and they're able to use your MFA against you. Also, what does that mean? Like if somebody steals your phone number just personally for you, like Bob said, he's had his phone number for 20 years. Like there's a chance you might not get that back. Here's the downside to it too. It's not necessarily AT&T or Verizon or whatever that can do that. If somebody that's like a reseller of those can initiate the SIM swap. So sometimes it'll be an inside job where somebody will pay somebody at one of these places to initiate that. So it may not be done at the AT&T Verizon level. It's done by a provider of, like, a reseller of theirs. There's a couple things you can do. One, I think AT&T has a special about Verizon, but you can tell them that you want to block a port out, and you have to provide a special PIN for that. And you also have to, or you can say, I have to go to the store for it and verify my identity. If you do that, they can't port the number out. That's a very important thing. If you have an iPhone 14, and I'm not sure if it works on 13, because if you use an eSIM, so if you don't use a physical SIM card anymore, you use the eSIM that's built in the phone, you can put a PIN on your eSIM and it can't be ported.
Wow.
But every time you reboot your phone, you have to you have to put that PIN in, or your phone won't activate. So you can log into it, but you don't have cell signal. So you have to unlock that eSIM every time. I've done that on my 13. I have a port out with my carrier where it's blocked. It needs a PIN to make changes to the account, things like that. And for the port out, I do not know if that PIN on a 13 works, but I know on a 14 they said it does work. Like where it will not, you cannot transfer, you cannot port that number out. So it's important to understand in the world we live in today that people, they can easily find your phone number. And if you look up a phone number, you can easily see what carrier it is. And if they have some information on you and they know you have something that they need or that they want, like access to your bank account or crypto or something like that, and they think it's tied to your phone number, then, you want to make sure you protect that number, protect that. We don't recommend SMS or text messages as a multi-factor authentication option. However, sometimes that's your only option.
Yeah.
So you got to live in reality, and the reality is just make sure that you don't get your phone number ported out, please.
Yeah, I've got a couple services that are text message only, and having airplane on the Wi-Fi, having Wi-Fi on the airplane still didn't let me work because I wasn't getting the text messages to actually log in because there was no cell service.
Yeah. So turn Wi-Fi calling on. And you fix that.
No, it didn't work.
Really? Oh, in Delta, my phone will ring. So don't get me started on that.
Yeah, no, I was able to. The
Oh.
Wi-Fi calling was working, but SMS was just not working
Oh,
for some
interesting.
reason. So be careful. Having those app authenticators really do make a difference.
Yeah.
And guys, the SIM swapping that Chris was talking about, it's really a 15-digit ID number that is registered with Verizon or AT&T or the phone carrier that's recognized to the device. And when people get those numbers, that they can make new phones that look like yours, or they can just transfer it to another phone.
Yeah. Don't just, if you're scared about it, we can reach out to us. We can give you some information, but just call your carrier and see if you can stop a number being ported out without a PIN. That's the key. Just do that and lock your account out with changes with a PIN, and that should help minimize the chances of this happening. We don't want anybody to lose their cell phone, especially during the holiday season.
Think about it, guy. If the bad guys get access to your cell phone,
yep,
they get access to all the accounts. They get access to all the accounts that you potentially had. They, depending on what's going on, and could they get access to your email? Maybe it's possible.
Not just that. What if they start answering phone calls?
Yeah,
because some verifications too aren't even text messages, just phone calls. So they call somebody up and the verification is a callback, and they have your phone. They have your phone number.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's going to work.
So, or if they go over to a online provider and they say, okay, we can let you change your password. We're going to text you a code. There we go.
Yeah, like maybe they found your password on the dark web or something like that, and they're just looking for the code. Yeah.
Or if they didn't if they just start testing it. If I go to Staples and I know I figure out what the person's email address is, I put it in and do a password reset. Okay, we're going to send you a code to reset your password.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Done.
Yeah, so protect your cell phone. That's what we're trying to say.
Protect your phone, back it up, and that's all I got for this week. And we got Turkey Day coming soon, and
we should do a live Turkey Day event. Nobody will watch.
Actually, I have to tell you, I typically cook turkeys in a trash can for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
think Boy Scouts.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not talking about a plastic trash can either, guys. let's not go there, because that would not end well. That would not end well at all.
That would be boiled turkey, maybe.
You'd have some chemicals in your turkey that I don't think would end up being a good thing for you long term.
Plastic coated carcinogen turkey.
Yeah, I can't even talk to you either. So okay.
Oh, guys,
have questions? Let us know.
Chris, I'll see you next week. And
see you next week. All right.